day, everybody. Today we're going to do lesson plan number 12, grade 3, term 2. And the topic is numbers 400 to 500. We're also going to look at worksheet 45 in the DBE workbook, or you can use the SA Teacher worksheet. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to scroll down here and you're going to stop and pause and you can see how it links to the curriculum. Then we're going to go and look at the resources in the dictionary. What I want you to do is pause here, make a note of the resources and then also the dictionary. Remember the words equal, less than, and more than. It's more important to understand the words first before you start to introduce any symbols. I want you to pause and have a look at this. Welcome back. So we're going to look at the daily routine and I want you to pause here and then ask the questions that we always ask during the daily routine. Okay, it's then time for counting. So today we're going to count from 0 to 500 in tens and hundreds. Remember, again, is we don't always have to start at 0. We can say 410, 420, 430. Carry on. Or we can say 480, 470, 460. Count on. Or we can, with hundreds, it's easy 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Then what's very important for learners to understand these, we need to compare and order. So if they count, you can stop them at any time, say for instance 10, 20, 30, and you can ask them which number will come first, or you can say 30, 40, 20, quickly put them in the right order, or when you count 10, 20, 30, which is the biggest, which is the smallest number. So those type of questions to get your children involved in the counting. You can always go to our SA Teacher counting library electronic activity that's available on our SA Teacher e-store. Then always it's good to ask oral problem solving that relates to what you did, just to put numbers into context. A quick question. Remember, if you do this on a daily basis, you keep your child or your learners mentally fit. Then we're quickly going to look. So what we're going to do here is we're going to, you can use a number line or you can just use these numbers and we're going to say which number is after or before this. This is a very quick activity. You will note that the numbers are lower. What you can do is you can change these numbers to bigger ones. For instance, 93, you can change it to 493. 81 to 281. So these numbers are just guidelines and you will know what's the potential of your children and you can then really try to push them to do higher numbers, but if they can only do these, it's still fine. So I'm just going to look at the first number. So which number comes then after 93? And it's 94. I want you to pause now and then to carry on with this activity. Okay, welcome back. So what we're going to do today is with the introduction, we're going to look again at the base 10 blocks. So you can show them this, or remember like in the previous lesson, you can just draw big squares and we're going to say each represent hundreds and we can 100 and then we can count 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. So now what we're going to ask then the child after this is to give you any number between 300 and 400. And then they need to write it down on a piece of paper or in a book, or together you can write it down on a board or as parents on a big chart or even outside with chalk on the pavement. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these numbers and then, or the numbers they wrote down, you don't have to use mine, And then what we're going to do is we're going to order them from the smallest to the biggest, and then the biggest to the smallest. I want you to pause now and do this activity then with your child or with your learners. Welcome back. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a number board that's from 401 to 500. If you need a board like this, please contact us at info@sateacher.co.za, and we can forward it to you, or always keep an eye on our SA Teacher e-store. So now how we're going to use this board is we want the learners or the children to show us where is 415 on the board and going right to 420. So we're going to count 415, 416, 417, 418, 419, and 420. After you've done that, you can also circle these numbers and then ask which numbers will be between these two. Now we're going to do the same for 499 and 496. And we're going to ask which numbers are in between. And then we're going to take 434 and 439 and ask which numbers are in between. Welcome back. Now, if you're in the classroom, they can ask friends. If you're just the parent or maybe family members, we're just going to ask each other to place 5 counters on any of the numbers or little stones, numbers that cover these numbers, and then the other person must then say what are the numbers that's below these counters or underneath these counters. Then we're going to give the learners 5 numbers. We're going to place counters on them or little stones. And then we're going to, without seeing them, write them from the smallest to the biggest and then the biggest to the smallest. Remember, what we try to do is we want them to see that 401 and 402 will be here on the number board. Let's move to the next one. 412, 420, 421. We do that so learners also identify the patterns on the number board. Because if 401 and 402 is here, 412 will always be there because we just add another 10. So I want you to pause here and then do these activities every time where you put or you place 5 counters on the number board. It's time to pause. Okay, welcome back. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the different levels. So again, is if your child still struggles, what you can do is you can use base 10 blocks to help them to understand the numbers. You can also do the problem solving by using these blocks. Then again, very important is where we have number lines. You can see this number line goes from 400 to 500 and we count it in tens. So the learners, before you fill in these numbers, again, what I suggest is to draw it. So before you fill in these numbers, remember also these are 11 lines. Don't only make 10, otherwise you're not going to fit in all your numbers. So before they carry on, they need to fill in these numbers. You can always support them. Then what they need to do is to give you numbers that's bigger than and smaller than certain numbers. And then you're going to ask them to show you more or less where are these numbers. 425, 471, 405, 436, and 495. Remember, number line activities are very, very important for number concept. Then we're going to go to our worksheet. Now, our worksheet, we got a board here, and you're going to answer the questions. You're going to complete the number lines. Here are activities where you're going to write it from the smallest to the biggest and biggest to the smallest. Remember, if the space is too small, do it in a writing book. And then the problem solving, we already touched on it. It was at where we did levels 1 to 3. And then lastly, we come to the consolidation. If all your answers is yes, carry on with the next lesson. If you have some no's, you need to revisit or revise some of these activities or contact us at SA Teacher.